Well, hello everyone and happy Wednesday. It's digital host AJ Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching the live stream this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. Now we're going to begin in a little bit of breaking news in Huntsville, where a man is being sought by authorities following a fatal shooting on Binford Drive. Now, authorities are looking for 23-year-old Tyshawn Dominique Darnell Hampton on charges of murder and first-degree assault following the September 16th shooting. Police responded to Binford Drive yesterday following reports of a shooting in progress and found two men with gunshot wounds. Now, one person, 25-year-old Caleb Martin of Decatur, died at the scene. A second person was brought to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, according to police, Martin was in an altercation with the victim who was injured. Hampton then intervened, and when Martin tried to fight him, Hampton allegedly shot him. The round also struck the second victim. Now, if you know where Hampton is, call police at 256-722-7100. But now, over the past 4 months, there have been 4 shootings at that very same apartment complex. 48's Nick Ballinger reports.
Margot, it's not. The executive director of the HHA tells me he's frustrated. Despite putting in place curfews and requesting more police patrols, these shootings keep happening. But he says there's still one more option on the table. To say residents on Binford Drive in Huntsville are frustrated would be an understatement.
People shouldn't be scared to come outside or scared to have their children outside.
The frustrations and fear come after yet another shooting at Huntsville Housing Authority's R.L. Patton Apartments. This is the 4th shooting at the complex in 4 months and the 3rd death.
We need better leadership.
The complex falls in Councilman Bill Kling's district.
It's an awful number to hear. It's almost like something you'd hear in Birmingham, but not in Huntsville.
Kling says he's talked with HHA leaders about cleaning up the crime. Housing Authority Executive Director Antonio McGinnis was not happy to hear about yet another shooting.
We're going to have to be serious about protecting our residents. It's unfair. It's unfair for the protective measures that we put in place.
A nightly curfew has been in place ever since a 21-year-old was killed in May, but Tuesday's shooting happened around 10 in the morning.
But now we're going to have to look at what can we do during the day when people are just hanging around, walking around.
McGinnis says the 2 men shot were not residents and were hanging out in front of an empty unit.
That's not right to the people who pay rent. That's not right to the folks who get up and go to work every morning. And it's not right to the children who have to come back to that neighborhood.
He says his leadership team will start discussing the possibility of banning non-residents from the property.
You don't live out there, you don't have your name on a lease, then it's probably better for you to stay away from the neighborhood.
It is important to note that we're less than 1 mile from HPD's West Precinct, but these shootings keep happening. Now, we will let you know if Huntsville Housing Authority decides to put any more policies in place to prevent this violence from happening. Reporting in Huntsville, Nick Ballinger, 48 on your side.
And again, that was 48's Nick Ballinger last night at the apartment complex, reporting on those ongoing shootings that's been happening for the past 4 months. Now 4 shootings in the past 4 months. But now we're going to move over to Madison, where James Clemens High School was recently fined and had to forfeit a game over a violation of the Alabama High School Athletic Association's academic rule. Now the school's football program has been placed on probation for playing an ineligible player during the first James Clemens game of the season. The team won that night, but is now forfeiting due to the violation. The violation was self-reported, and 48's Callie Neese will have further details coming up in our evening newscast, so make sure to stick around for the latest. And now moving over to Lauderdale County, where a Killen man was arrested on several drug charges after authorities carried out a search warrant on County Road 283 earlier today. The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office says the warrant turned up 5 grams of fentanyl and 4 grams of meth. Authorities also reported finding various pieces of paraphernalia, including necessary items used for distributing drugs. 37-year-old Bradley Bruce was charged with trafficking in fentanyl, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, and unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. He is being held inside the Lauderdale County Detention Center. And now in Gunnersville, where earlier today officials announced upcoming fall fishing tournaments. Last year, the tournaments generated more than $950,000 in economic impact for the region. They expect this season's impact to even surpass that. You can find all those tournaments right now on our website. Just go to WAFF.com. And of course, we'll have the latest coming up in our evening newscasts. But now let's talk about the weather. A pop-up hailstorm this afternoon here in Huntsville. Let's turn over to 48 First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer for what else we can expect this afternoon. Jeff?
Good Wednesday afternoon to everybody as we continue to track some thunderstorms. Very isolated activity, but producing some heavy rain, even some small hail here at the station. I think the activity will back off pretty quickly during the evening, but live look outside Huntsville and everything's wet. We could use the rain. Temperature's not 92 anymore, I can promise you that. It has really cooled off where we've had some showers and storms, but there's that line moving south of Huntsville now, headed down towards Owen Crossroads, and you got some more rain off to the west, very isolated stuff, but hey, if you get some rain, you get some rain. It's a good thing, nothing wrong with that. The little pocket of rain developing right across the Tennessee Valley, moving north to south. It'll continue to back off here this evening once the sun goes down. The temperatures are all over the place. In Meridianville at the airport, had dropped to 74 when the thunderstorm was on top of you. Now got some 80s, and if you haven't had a storm, you're baking in the 90s, and it is more humid today than it has been. The storm's back off early, though. Mild tonight, mid-60s. All about the heat for the next 3 days. Take you right into the weekend, around 90 degrees. Slight chance of some storms on Saturday. Slight chance of some storms on Sunday. It's still hot. And then it cools off when fall officially arrives on Monday. Got some showers Monday and Tuesday. That's part of a frontal boundary. And the high temperatures by the middle of the next week, when fall officially has arrived, temperatures will fall back in the low 80s for your daytime highs.
And I see in the Facebook comments, we have D.O. from PC, Donna Oliver. Hello, how are you doing today? It is so great to see you on. Thank you so much for watching Before the 4 this afternoon. And also, don't forget, First Alert Weather Extra is tonight at 9:30. First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer, he'll be back here in the streaming center, and he'll have all the latest that he is seeing on the radar for later on tonight, moving into tomorrow morning. I know we'll see Dio from PC on there. Dio, thanks again for watching. It is so great to see you. But now we are going to go to break, but coming up, a few stories in case you missed them. Of course, we've already covered the 4 shootings in the past 4 months on Binford Drive, but now the latest on a former Tiny Tigers daycare worker's sentencing and soaring water rates in Lawrence County. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, well, hello and welcome back to Before the 4. And now heading out to the Shoals, where yesterday a former daycare worker was sentenced to prison for manslaughter after the death of a 4-month-old infant. 48's Aria Pons with the details on that sentencing.
The Wells family finally got the chance to speak to Peyton Gann directly, telling her of the pain they've experienced and issuing a warning to everyone.
The rest of us, especially my daughter, has to live with this every day for the rest of her life.
On Tuesday, Peyton Gann was sentenced to 20-year split sentence, meaning she'll only serve 6 years behind bars. Wells' family, including her grandfather Joel Wells, was heartbroken at the discovery and even more so as the investigation unfolded.
This daycare operated without anything being legal. No insurance, no bond, untrained workers, and not monitoring their workers.
Wells says people need to question their daycares before trusting their children to them. Wells and the Franklin County District Attorney Jeff Barksdale say this should be a message to all.
There's a Christmas to be spent at a grave. Let us do that. I don't want somebody else to have to do that. There's Easter that we put a rabbit at that grave. Birthdays that we put presents at that grave. Let us do that. We don't want somebody else to have to do that.
That someone in Peyton Gann's position that was considering cutting corners or being reckless with a child that was placed in their care, that they would hear this sentence and that they would have second thoughts about taking those shortcuts or being reckless with the lives of a child.
Barksdale says this is not the end either. There are others who have to be brought to justice, and they are working very diligently on making sure that happens. Reporting in Franklin County, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
And in Lawrence County, to the town of Moulton, where water officials voted to raise the price of water for the West Lawrence Water Cooperative. 48's Sarah Grace Kennedy spoke with residents and has more.
I don't know how long I can stay in business with it like this, but we're going to do the best we can.
Mike Walker is a poultry farmer in Lawrence County. He tells me that he got into the business about 11 years ago because he wanted to retire with that business. Now he says the price hike on water bills could get in the way of that.
This month's bill was $2,146. Last year, this month's bill was, $1,200 and something. Same amount of usage, to the gallon. And it's just been, that's $800 and something upcharge, and it's just ridiculous. And I told my wife, I said, I don't know how we're going to pay it.
Walker tells me that he has to use about 70,000 gallons of water a month to care for his chickens.
You can't conserve on the water. They're going to drink what they're going to drink, and you got to have it there for them to drink, or they don't grow.
Earlier this year, the West Lawrence Water Co-op sued the city of Moulton over the price increases. The city then countersued in an attempt to negotiate a fair price. Wendell Mitchell, who is the chairman of the West Lawrence Water Co-op Board of Directors, tells me this agreement with Moulton is now final.
The chicken farmers are going to have to go back to the poultry company to try to get help, because we can't help. We lost $300,000 this year trying to save money, eating the bills. When the poultry companies don't help these people out, they're going to shut their doors.
The city of Moulton is now charging the water company $2.75 per 1,000 gallons of water every month. General manager of West Lawrence Water Co-op, Kevin Martin, tells me that they had to then increase that price to its customers, depending on how much water they use to make a profit. Martin says another reason why bills have increased is that customers now have to pay a utility tax.
Since this co-op has been in existence, we've never had to pay a 4% utility tax. And the Alabama Department of Revenue called down here back in August and told us we were going to have to start charging a 4% utility tax.
Walker tells me that he's concerned about the elderly in the area being able to pay their bills as well.
Our water bill for a house that's not connected to the poultry farm, it's went up about $80, $90. And for the people that's on a set income, the elderly people that's on Social Security, that's a big, going to be on a different scale, but it's going to hurt them too.
That was 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy there. And now let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. How Toyota is helping Huntsville City Schools. 48's Faith Delp will have more on that coming up. Attacks on vaping in Muscle Shoals. 48's Aria Pons will have those details on that tax. And finally, a brand new hockey team coming to the state of Alabama. Could be the Havoc's new rival. Get all those details coming up, and these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And now you guys know the drill. It is time for Facebook Fun. Our 48 Facebook question of the day today: would you rather hike a mountain or lay on the beach? Let's see what you all had to say. I think for me, it definitely depends. If it's the summertime, I think I want to lay on the beach, but around September, October, the weather's starting to chill out a little bit. I do like the mountains. It's super pretty with the changing leaves and everything, and it just makes me want to go for a hike, get out in nature. But let's see what you all had to say. Hike a mountain or lay on the beach? Looks like Shane Herbert said, do I have a fishing rod with me? That is a good point there. Thank you for commenting, Shane. Jordan said, easy hike. Jordan is a fan of the hiking the mountain. Hey, I feel that. Nothing wrong with that. Laura said, lay on the beach. I'm too lazy for a hike anywhere. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, Laura. Laying on the beach is great. Gotta love it. Karen, hike a mountain. Karen is a fan of the hike as well. Gotta love a good hike. What's your favorite place to hike? That's a follow-up question I have for you. And then Lorinda said a little of both. I'm like that too. I like hiking, but I also like to chill out on the beach a little bit. Chatty Charity, she said, depends on the temperature. That is right. Depends on the season, depends on the temperature. I'm not a big fan of hiking when it's like 95 degrees and humid. So I think I would rather be close to the water in that case, but maybe 60s, 70s, you know, I'll go for a hike. But anyway, y'all, that is just about it for today's Before the Four. Thank you all for spending a bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.